Hi guys, welcome back to another week of math. This week you're going to be taking a quiz over 7.1 and 7.4. You can review old assignments, review just the section in the book. I think a good way to review for the quiz would be to do in the back of your chapter 7 in the chapter review. Just go ahead and do 1 through 13. This is on page 345 and 346. It's not online, you'll just have to do it in your notebook. And this is what it looks like. So I like these reviews in the back of the book because they always kind of reteach you, and then it references where you can find it in the regular book, and then you have a couple practice problems. You can do the same thing for 7.2. and then go on to do the 7.3 and 7.4. And so you would just stop at 13. So 1 through 13, and that is on page 345 through 346. And then you can just go ahead and take the online quiz, and remember to hit submit when you're done. Then we're just going to go over one new lesson this week. So this is going to be over 7.5. This starts on page 326 in your regular book. So now we're going to be dealing with inequalities. So an inequality is just a mathematical sentence that compares expressions, and it contains the following symbols. Less than or greater than symbol, you know those already. And then we have these two new ones. This is called a less than or equal to symbol, and this is a greater than or equal to symbol. And so here's a nice chart if you want to copy this down into your notebook or ISN, whatever you're using, so you can reference it while you're doing your homework. So again, you know less than, fewer than, that's all going to be represented with this symbol. Greater than, more than, that's this symbol. Now these are the two new symbols. They look very similar to the old ones, except they have half of an equal sign underneath it. It just looks like it's underlined. But think of it as half of an equal sign. And we say this is a less than or equal to. You'll also see the phrase is at most or is no more than. And then this would be a greater than or equal to symbol. Remember, that's half of the equal sign. Another phrase you might see is at least or is no less than. So we're going to do very similar what we did in the beginning half of the chapter. Instead of putting an equal sign, we're going to use one of these four inequality symbols though. So we're going to start off by just translating word sentences into an inequality statement. Well, let me keep this in here. So a number C is less than -4. So again, the nice color coding, break it up into the three sections. You're going to have something in the beginning, some symbol, one of these four symbols, and then something at the end. So keep in mind these three sections, that's why they color coded it. So a number C, we don't know what C is worth, so we're going to represent that with a variable, just a C, is less than. You can come up here, look at it in the chart, and see what symbol that looks like. -4, and just pull it down. So a number K plus 5 is greater than or equal to 8. A number K plus 5, so that's represented as K plus 5, is greater than or equal to, well, that's this symbol right here, and then an 8. And then the last one, 4 times the number Q is at most 16. 4 times a number Q, that's just 4Q, remember you could put the dot in the middle if you want, but no X, is at most. Now that might be a little tricky. You're really going to want to go back and use these charts. I find that right here, which is going to be this symbol, the less than or equal to symbol. And that's what they used. So now I'm going to go ahead and do these four down here. Okay, so in my notebook, I have inequality compares two expressions that are not equal. So, and I just listed those here. So now we're going to do those on your own at the bottom of 326. So the first one, let me try to get situated, is a number n is greater than 1. A number n, I can just put that as an n. Greater than, that's just the greater than symbol, 1. And that's it. Number 2. Twice a number p is fewer than 7. So twice a number p, that means 2 times p, with or without the dot. So twice means you're multiplying it by 2, is fewer than, you might have to come up at the top and look at your chart. Fewer than, that's going to be the less than symbol. And then 7. A number w minus 3 is less than or equal to 10. W minus 3 less than or equal to 10. And then number 4, a number z divided by 2 is at least negative 6. So a number z divided by 2. Remember, I'm going to make my z look different from my 2. So z divided by 2 is at least. So you're going to want to come back here again. Is at least. So that's going to be this symbol, greater than or equal to. And then negative 6. Remember, I could also write this as a fraction, z over 2 greater than or equal to negative 6. Can't see it. And there you go. So now, on the next page, we're going to get into some solution solving. So a solution of an inequality is a value that makes the inequality true. An inequality can have more than one solution, and that's why we call it a solution set, because there's a whole set of answers. If it's not equal to exactly one answer, we can have lots of different answers. So here's an inequality statement. Looks a lot like an equation, except instead of an equal sign, we just have this inequality symbol. They're going to tell us to plug in 3 for this x. So if I rewrite that, it's going to be 3 plus 3 is less than or equal to 7. Solve this side, that is 6. Is 6 less than or equal to 7? Well, it's not equal to 7, but it is less than 7, so yes, that is true. Remember, it's less than or equal to. So now let's plug in a 4 up here. So 4 plus 3 is less than or equal to 7. We'll solve 7. Is 7 less than 7? No, it's not. But is it equal to 7? Yes. So as long as it's true for one of them, it's true. It's a yes. Now plug in a 5 for the x. 5 plus 3 is 8. Is 8 less than 7? Nope. Is 8 equal to 7? Nope. So it doesn't work for either one of them, so it's going to be a no. So here's 3 more examples. I'm going to let you go through. If you want, you can pause this video, see where they're getting these answers, and then go from there. But otherwise, I'm just going to kind of move along because this is kind of a long lesson. So I'm going to tell whether 3 is a solution of the inequality. They're telling me to plug in a 3 every single time. Uh-oh. There we go. Sorry about that. So we're going to plug in a 3 for my B. And here are my steps. We're going to copy the problem down. I already did it. Substitute the variable. They're telling you to substitute 3. And then we're going to solve and determine if it's yes or no. So plug in a 3 here. So 3 plus 4, copy everything else down. Oops. Now solve this side, that's 7. Is 7 less than 6? No. So your answer is just no. Now, they're still, even though I have a B, they're still telling me to use a 3 every time. So now we're going to plug in my 3 for my N. So substitute it. This is step 2. Bring everything else down. Solve this side. 6 greater than or equal to 6. Well, is 6 greater than 6? No. But is 6 equal to 6? Yes. Remember, it's either or. It's either going to be greater than or equal to. And then number 7. This time my x is going to be worth that 3. So plug in a 3. 18 divided by 3. Pull everything else down. Solve this side. 18 divided by 3 is 6, less than or equal to 10. Is 6 less than 10? Yes. I know it's not equal to 10, but since it was less than, that still works. So that's how we substitute and then solve either a yes or no. Now, going to the next page, we're going to learn how to graph our inequalities. We were graphing our solutions when we were solving equations, and we can graph our inequalities. It's going to look a little different though. So here they're talking about this open dot, closed dot, or they call it circle, open circle, closed circle. For whatever reason, I always called it an open dot, closed dot. So here's some notes. Again, you may want to copy this part down so that you can refer back to it. If you see a plain greater than symbol, you're going to use an open dot, and this will make more sense as we go along, so just stay with me. If you see a less than symbol, you're also going to use an open dot when you're graphing. If you see a greater than or equal to symbol, you're going to use a closed dot. Less than or equal to, you're going to use a closed dot. I always think of it this way. If you see that extra line underneath it, you're going to have some extra color. So extra line, extra color. Extra line, extra color. No extra line, no extra color. So now, here it's giving you an example. G is greater than 2. So whatever G is worth, it can be any number that's greater than 2. Well, there's lots of numbers that are greater than 2. And so you're going to, here's an open dot. Since they did not have that extra line, they just used an open circle, open dot. And now give me a number that's greater than 2. Well, 3 is, 4 is, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 24, 30. It's going to go all the numbers on this side. So here's a NASA question. Again, I'm going to let you review that on your own just for time's sake, since we're already almost 15 minutes here. So we're going to do these on your owns down here. So number 8. I just rewrote these on my paper, so I'm going to just refer to my paper now. So A is less than 4. So you get to think of any number that is less than 4. Well, 3 is less than 4. 2 is less than 4. 1 is less than 4. Now I already made my number line. I'm going to have some type of circle on the 4 because that's the answer on this side. Since there's no extra line, I'm just going to have an open circle, open dot on my 4. And now I'm going to point the arrow to all of my numbers that could make this statement true. So anything going on that side of the number line is going to make that statement true. I know this is a little different kind of lesson, so just keep watching the examples and it'll click, I promise. So f is less than or equal to 7. Well, right away I see that extra line, so I'm going to put the extra color in, and I'm going to put it on the 7 since that's the number over here. So I'm going to color in my dot. That's the first step. Now I got to determine what way am I going to point my arrow. Well, I'm going to plug in some numbers that would make this statement true. Tell me any number that is less than or equal to, well, it's on 7, so you can ignore that part. So tell me a number less than 7. Well, 6, 5, 4. So I'm going to point my arrow in that direction. Number 10. N is greater than 0. Just a plain greater than symbol. Open dot on my 0. Now tell me a number that is greater than 0. Well, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to point my arrow towards my 1, 2, where my 3 would be. Now number 11. P is greater than or equal to -3. Right away I see that extra line, so I need to put some extra color. Close in that dot or that circle. Now tell me a number that I could substitute for this P. What is a number that is greater than -3? Well, 0 is greater than -3. 1, 2, 3. So I don't see that on my number line, but I know my 0 is going to come like right here if I extended my number line. 1, 2. So my arrow is going to go that way. Now we got number 12, word problem. Write and graph an inequality for the situation. A cruise ship can carry at most 3,500 passengers. So a cruise ship, I'm just going to use C for cruise ship. And then I know I'm going to have the number 3,500 over here. Now I got to determine what symbol is at most. Does anybody remember going back to that chart? Bear with me. Is at most. Okay, so I know I'm going to need that symbol, less than or equal to. So it's going to be a less than or equal to. Alright, so I already filled out my number line. I know I'm going to have a dot on this number. And since I see the extra line, I'm going to add some extra color. And now tell me a number that is less than 3,500. Well, 3,000 is less, 2,000 is less, 1,000 is less. So I'm just going to point my arrow in the direction where I would find those numbers. They're going to be somewhere on this side of my number line. Now number 13, a game board is designed for ages 12 and up. So a board game. I don't know, I guess we could use B for board or G for game. And I know I'm going to have a 12 on this side. For ages 12 and up. So you can equal 12. Or up. So you have to be older than 12. So B has to be greater than or equal to 12. So since I see my extra line, extra color on my 12, now tell me a number that's greater than 12, 13, 14, 15. Point your arrow in that direction. Okay. And that's how you're graphing inequalities. So again, if you didn't copy these notes down, I would probably copy those down. And this chart would also be super helpful. So now it looks like you are ready to go online and complete your assignment for 7.5. There's 10 questions there. Remember to hit submit, and have a great week, guys.